This is J. Krishnamurti's sixth discussion with teachers and students at Brockwood Park, 1974.
What shall we?
Could you talk about order?
Order.
Well, can you talk about death?
That's right. We were going to talk about it, weren't we? That's right. There are a lot of things that we should know, at least be acquainted with them. Say, for instance, in the East, in India, and some part of the East, they take religion very seriously. Some of them do, very, very seriously. And it is part of their daily life. Not just go on Sunday morning and do some kind of hocus pocus, and then the rest of the day, rest of the week, do all kinds of mischievous things. And one of the great concerns of human beings throughout the world has been this question of death. And you see in the East especially, dead bodies being carried naked, covered by a cloth, depending how poor they are, and carried to a river bank, and there burnt. And the body, remains of the body, thrown into the river. And here in the West, they make a lot of circus about it. Flowers, hearse, a long procession of people crying or trying to, some of them pretending to be terribly depressed when they're dead, when they're very glad that he's gone, and so on. This has been a tremendous question for all mankind from the ancient of days. You must have read something about the Egyptians, how they lived. For them, living was only a means to the other side, death, what is beyond death. And you've seen their tombs with all these statues and their power, position represented in pictures and so on, so on, so on. And the Greeks had the same idea differently. I'm afraid I don't know what the Romans believed in. But the Christians, you know what you all believe in, if you have thought about it at all. And everything is frightened to die, from the little animal to the hero, or whatever you like to call him. When the dog chases, when Whisper chases rabbit, the rabbit is dreadfully frightened to be killed. I saw once a boy, about 10, in California, catch a bird in the trap, and the bird had broken its legs. And I looked at it, and she looked at me. I didn't say anything. And he began to cry. And he cried, as though himself he had been hurt. He didn't realize what a dreadful thing he had done. He realized only when I looked at him and the bird and kept quiet. Then everything kind of burst in him. Everything is frightened to die. And we do die through old age, disease, accident. And we pay very little attention to all this. You see a hearse going by, flowers on it in a big car, and we look at it, and it doesn't mean very much. We say, well, that's part of life, and just pass on. And if you begin to think about it, if you all began to think about this question of death, what would you say about it? You love your mother or grandmother or some uncle or brother, and he has some disease, cancer, old age, or some accident happens to him and he dies. And you love him. And what do you feel? Discuss with me, sirs. This is a closed meeting. I don't know why, but it's a closed meeting. So you discuss with me. What do you feel when you love somebody and that somebody goes away, dies, and you'll never see him again?
Loss.
Huh?
Loss.
Loss and what?
Pain.
Pain, grief. And then what?
Loneliness. Loneliness.
Loneliness. For whom are you? You have, for the man who is, or the woman who is dead, gone, you have pain for him or for yourself?
For ourselves.
Huh?
For ourselves.
For oneself. Why? Think about it. Really go into this, because you have to understand this also. Death also. You have to understand what is living, what is dying. Because we never talk about either of these two subjects. What is living and what is dying. Especially what is dying. It is very, very carefully put away from us. Nobody writes about it, talks about it, thinks about it. But generally, brushes aside, but let's enjoy while we are living. What doesn't very much matter. As a writer, when he was about to die, he said, I had a jolly good time. A silly ass. You follow? So, jolly good show, he said, yes. So what do you consider death? What does it mean to you? I'm sorry to talk about it on a lovely morning, but you should know about these things. And you should know about meditation. You should know about what it means to live. Not just carry on day after day in a monotonous routine or boredom or pain or sorrow and all the rest of it. What it means actually to live. And also what it means to die. You must know it. So when you have somebody whom you like or love dies, you say you are lonely. You feel pain. And what? What do you do after that? Just feel it. And what about the chap who is dead? How do you face this thing?
It seems that the grief I feel is because I'm dependent on that person somehow, and I want him still with me.
That's what he said, lonely. I depend on him for my affection, for he was very kind to me. We walked together in the woods, talked together, played together, held hands together, looked at the same picture, the same beauty of a tree, and smelled the earth, the rain and the flowers, and we felt very close to each other. And he's gone, never to return. And I feel lonely, depressed, upset, thrown upon myself, because I depended on him, and he's gone, and I feel at a loss. And then what? You haven't solved the problem, have you? Unless you resolve this problem, the incident of death remains in your background, in your mind. It is there, like a dark shadow. And therefore, you escape from that shadow. You never look at it. Go off to nightclubs, drink, indulgence in sex, drugs, chase all kinds of entertainment, so on, so on. Never face that enormous problem.
We're scary to face.
Hmm?
We are scary to face this problem.
Difficult to face the problem. What is the problem? You understand? I love my mother, or my father, or somebody. And he dies. She or he dies. And I've been dependent on her or him. And he has been so affectionate, kind, generous. He understood me much better than the others did. And I suddenly feel at a loss. I cry. I may not show it, but I cry inwardly. I feel terribly depressed. I feel at a loss. Somehow I feel everything has been taken away from me. And what? What shall I do? Forget it? Take a drink? Read a book? Run off and play cricket or tennis or whatever it is? What shall I do? Come on, sir. You're going to face this problem. It isn't just me alone. I've solved it for myself. But how do you face it? Is this too much of a problem to you?
Is
Huh?
my life composed to all my dependency and my habitual relationship only? I mean, it seems that way. I mean, the fact that we are unhappy because of that, that seems that my relationship is composed of my dependency upon people.
How shall I solve this problem, Tunki? I have a son, he dies. I wanted that son to be something much better than I am. I put all my eggs in him, basket, in that person. He's going to carry on with my name, with my all the rest of it. And he dies. I feel terrible, right, Tunki? What shall I do? How shall I face all this?
By looking at my own wants.
Do it. Look, there's several problems involved in it. You know what the Eastern world thinks about death? Do you? They say, the Hindus originated this, I think, the ancient Hindus, the ancient Aryans who came to India from the north, they said the soul, the entity, the spirit, continues after death, is reborn next life. You understand this? And next life depends on what kind of life he has led this life. You understand? If he has led a good life, not in the sense of a good time, but a good life, that he's been virtuous, kind, generous, respectful of the gods, and so on, then next life he'll have a better life. His actions shall be rewarded. You understand? Next life.
Better in which way do you mean?
Huh?
Better in which way?
Better in the way, in the sense of a better house. More pleasant companions. And gradually that way progressing, eventually, after many lives, he will reach reality. You follow? That's the idea of incarnation, reincarnation, to reincarnate. Right? You understood? And you have also in the West some kind of such idea, not so mathematically worked out, but a little more obscure. The angel Gabriel blows the bugle and you all wake up and go to whatever it is. And there is a lovely story I must tell you. A Brahmin in India was worshipping the gods and giving things away, giving his property, his cattle, everything away, because it was considered virtuous that every 5 years or 7 years forgotten, whatever you have collected, you gave away, and then began again. And his son comes to him and says, "Father, you've given the cattle away, the house away, everything away. To whom are you going to give me? And the father says, don't disturb me, go away, go away. And the boy comes back third time and he says, Father, I'm still waiting. Whom are you sending me to? And the father gets angry and he says, I'm going to send you to death. And being a Brahmin, he has to keep his word. And the boy goes from one teacher to another and asks, what's going to happen when I die? And he goes to the house of death, and there death is absent. You understand it? So he waits for 3 days. And death comes and apologizes for keeping a Brahmin waiting. And he says you can have 3 rewards. I mean, what is it?
Boons.
What?
Boons.
Boons, that's right. And choose what you like, 3. So the boy says, send me back to my father and make him less angry with me. Oh, he said, that's nothing, that's easy. And the second is something silly, that doesn't matter. And the third, he says, your death, you seem to know about everything. And I've been to all the teachers on my way to you, and some have said that there is life after death, and some have said there is nothing after death. And you who know the world and the universe, you who know what is to die, to live, and to flourish, what do you say? You understand my question? And that says, don't ask me that question. It is much too serious. You can't ask me such a question. He said, but you have given me a boon. I insist on it. And that says, I wish I had disciples like that, who gave everything away to find out what is truth. You understand? So, death begins to talk about what is death. Which I won't go into because it's a very complex thing. Which is, if you want interest, I'll tell you briefly. He says, I don't know, I haven't read it. People have told me about this story. It's a very well-known story of many centuries and centuries ago. He says, I'm putting it in my own words. He says, there is no death to a man who has no time. You understand? Are you following all this? There is no death to a man who has no tomorrow. There is no death to a man who doesn't know himself. Follow this? There is no death to a man who has no attachments. Who is totally innocent of everything that he has come across. And so death says, now you have learned, now you can go back to your father. You understand the story? So, you have to understand this question of what it means not only for another to die, but also what it means to die oneself. I was told by a journalist, a newspaper man, and I believe this is an authentic story because he tried to verify it and he told me seriously that it was true. I could hardly believe it, but he said, this is really true what I'm telling you. An old lady dies, very rich, in California. And she loved movies, films. And before she died, she said, I want in my coffin that picture which I love, a film which I love. So when she dies, they fix up a dynamo and all the rest of it, and when the coffin is nailed down, the picture, the film turns round. I don't believe this is true story, but it's a good story. Invented probably by this journalist. So, there is this problem. Someone dying, your friend, your father, grandmother, whatever it is dying, and you yourself coming to an end. What is the truth of all this? You understand my question? The Psychical Research Society, do you know anything about it? Oh Lord. I used to know a friend. He's dead now. An admiral in the Italian Navy. He used to be terribly interested in all this kind of stuff. He used to go to certain seances. You know what seances are? And there he would see, and I believe this is accurate because he was very intelligent and rather clever and serious chap. And manifestations would take place. Say, for instance, I go there. We all sit around and there's a medium. And the medium would say to me, your son is here or your brother is here. And the brother has a message for you. And the brother would tell me what he and I know, and I say, yes, probably that's true. And I've collected a great deal of data on this matter. That there are certain phenomena which take place when a certain type of mind or medium is there with people who are concerned about this, and certain manifestations take place. I believe this is more or less accurate, authentic. It's not deceptive. It's not contrived at. So there is all that problem. You understand what I'm talking about?
You said, I believe yourself, or he will say that, I believe it's authentic?
No, I've never been to an audience, medium, but I've been told very, very seriously about it by serious people who have gone into it very thoroughly. I know, for instance, an author I won't mention his name because I know him. And his wife died, and he went to a seance, medium, happened to be, and wife appears, tells this author something which she and the author only knew. You understand what I'm saying? And nobody else. And so on. So there is all that side. You're following all this? That is, there is that my brother's son, wife dies, and he continues in a certain form according to Psychical Research Society, mediums and all that. And there is this whole question of reincarnation in the East. You understand? I die, and if I have lived a good life, done good deeds, I'll have a better time next life. I live in Brockwood instead of living in a hovel. You follow? And gradually progress that way till I join to the light of truth. That's the idea. And there is all these Christian ideals, all based on belief, superstition, desire for comfort, all that. Right? You've got the picture? Have you? The boy going to death. And rather good story that. And and when he arrives, death is absent and gives him a boon. That's a lovely idea. And there is this idea of this data collected by the Psychical Research Society. And there are the whole Eastern world believing in reincarnation. That doesn't mean they behave rightly every day. You understand? They're as ugly and superstitious and vicious as the rest of the world, but they believe in reincarnation. And in the West, they believe in resurrection. Even that they're questioning, and so on, so on, so on. Now, what do you all think?
I don't believe in any of that.
Huh?
I don't believe in any of that.
What do you say?
I feel that you have one life, and when you die, that's it.
Is that all?
That's all.
Then why struggle?
Well,
Then why try to be better? Why try to be noble? Or why do anything? If just for 20 years you live, or 30, 40, and just die. What?
to try to make the most of the time you have.
Beg pardon?
To try to make the most and to live the fullest, and to live a vital life for the time you have.
But aren't you interested to find out?
Yes, I'm interested.
All right. So the concept, that's enough. You understand what I'm saying? Am I
I'm
made myself?
to find out, but I have, in my own thinking about it, rejected both the Eastern and the Western idea of resurrection or reincarnation. I have
You may reject
no faith
it.
in any of that.
I understand you may reject it, but don't you want to find out
Yes.
what, if there is such a thing as a continuity or not? Not rationalize, say, well, earth to earth, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Everything dies and reborn, the continuous cycle. But you have to find out, don't you? Aren't you interested in finding out?
Yeah.
Therefore, you can't say, well, I don't believe in anything more. What's on the other side of the wall? I don't believe there's anything. So you must investigate, haven't you? This is the common factor throughout the world. They answer according to their little concepts. They never say, look, I have no concept, let's find out.
The fact of death for me is like a totally unreal thing. You know?
Huh?
The fact of death for me is unreal. I'm not related to it at all.
But you see that person dying, sir.
I'm talking about this time.
You see somebody dying, I want to find out what it means.
Okay. But that's one thing. But the fact of it for this, is, I feel you understand what I'm saying. Is I'm not directly related to that. It's like,
I don't follow you.
it's an idea to me, but I don't.
Oh, it's an idea.
Right. My death isn't real too.
And why should it happen? I see it happening around me. Somebody dies. There's a great deal of pomp. If he's a big person or important person, one of the blasted rulers of this world, he gets a tremendous circus around it. Or somebody, poor chap, dies around the corner. Nobody, few cry and is buried or burnt. I say, what is it all? What? I want to find out. I want to go into this question of living and dying. If I say, well, living, I've just lived for 50 years or 60 years and die, that's the end of it. I say, but then I won't take life seriously. I just play with it. I'm amused, suffer, carry on for a while and die. I wonder if you're following all this. Right? Are you?
I still don't understand what you mean by find out. If while you are living,
I'm inquiring. We are inquiring. You know what? Investigate. You know what to investigate? Yeah. It means to look into.
But you're looking now reincarnation and that.
I'm not. No. Look, I explained to you what the East believes. They have built a whole structure on that. And some of them take it seriously and function that way. They won't do certain things. They will not kill. They will not hurt. And so on. They will behave. They control themselves, don't get angry, and all the rest of it. Because next life, you're going to be rewarded, and not only rewarded, you will get nearer God. And all that's involved in that idea of reincarnation. It's not just getting a good house and a good reward, good life, but it means getting more and more and more refined, unselfish. You follow? That a great many other things are involved in this.
But what do they think? What is God when you come nearer and nearer?
And
what is that thing?
that's their idea. Their concept is a concept, you understand?
Well, but
I'm telling you what they believe. Practically the whole of Asia.
Well, when we begin investigating death here, are we investigating death or our image of it?
Not only your image, your fear of it, but also can we investigate, can we look without fear? Can we understand this enormous problem? You understand? It's not just a childish thing. Say, well, I'm not interested in death, I'm living. I mean, that's too childish. Whole humanity is concerned with it. You follow? All the ancient pictures and history and everything is concerned with living and dying.
This is all the base of religions, any kind of religion.
That's right. Religion is that, you see.
How can you know that? You find out when you are leaving?
First of all, sir, you must know what people think, don't you?
Yeah.
You must know what the world has thought about this. Because you're part of that world. You may be ignorant of it. You may be unconscious of it. But it's all around you. You understand? I mean, when you go past a church, or a cathedral in this country, or a local parish church, you see it there, this question of death. And when you see a hearse being drawn, and you say, by Jove, there is death there. You follow? And you see death, life all the time around you. It's no good shut.
What good does it do us to know people's theories and attitudes about death? When you come in contact with it, those things have very little meaning for most people. It's only when you're not in contact that you...
So are you saying we are neither in contact with the living nor with death? We are not in contact except with our own little ideas and little movements of enjoyment and pain and all, little bit. We live in that little circle and not in contact with the reality of life, which is living and dying. What is implied in living and what is implied in dying.
I think so. What we're saying is that we know that we're not in contact with dying, partly because of the way society works, they tend to hide.
And are you in contact with living?
The question is, perhaps we don't really realize we're not in contact with living.
So, now what shall I do, sir? I suffer. My son, my brother, my mother is dead. I'm lonely. Let's deal with that first. And what shall I do? Just swallow the bitter pill? You follow? Cry to myself and forget it, which we generally do. And then later on I marry and one of my son dies, and I begin again, miserable and happy. You follow? Keep going that way till I die. So my question is, how do I deal with this problem? You follow? As a human being, suffering, not believing in anything. You follow? Reincarnation or resurrection or some other theory, which may give me comfort for the time being. But I want to find out how to answer this question. How not to suffer. I don't know if you... Are you following this? Because I see when there is suffering, life becomes so tortuous. I get bitter, cynical. My actions are neurotic. I avoid people. Sorrow encloses me more and more and more and more, so I gradually wither away. Unless you answer this question, which is part of death, life is rather meaningless, you follow? I may have a very good time, a house, a property or no property. I may have a talent, a gift, but it's a very shallow affair.
perhaps we should investigate the will to exist?
No, sir. Not will to exist only, but I'm suffering. You follow? I go through hell with myself. You don't seem to know about all this.
Is the avoidance of suffering at such a moment point? Is that the thing?
I'm taking that as one of the factors of this enormous complex problem.
Avoidance of suffering an objective at that moment, are you not avoiding something deeper and realistic?
But you see, I could go into deep, but we must follow each other.
First of all, we should know what we consider as I live. If I say I live, what it is? What is it? I mean.
Okay, there are two things.
Without this.
Okay, just listen. There are two things. What is the meaning of life? Why am I living? What is it all about? You follow? That's one point. I struggle, I get a job, fight with my wife, children, for all that, this enormous weight and struggle of life. What for? That's one problem. And in that, my son, whom I think I love, dies. I suffer. And how shall I meet all this? My son may be stupid, or ugly, or brainless idiot, but I still like him because he's my son. How shall I meet all this? My own life, my own miserable, shallow, shoddy little life, and also the sorrows that come with it. You know, let's move a little, otherwise you're stuck. When you have a physical pain, what do you do? When you have pain, toothache, what do you do?
Go to the dentist.
Huh?
No.
Go to...
No, I mean, with physical pain, we put something in it.
Yes, you have a tummy ache, you take a pill, something or other, you try it. Now, psychologically, inwardly, you have pain. What do you do? Are you following all this? Does this interest you? Inwardly, my son is dead, I have pain. Shall I take a pill for it? Is there a pill for it? Or do I escape from it? You follow? I have pain. And I can't face it. I don't know what it is. I'm not fully I run away. I want to run away from it. So I turn on the radio, do all kinds of things to escape from this. Right?
And also you escape by going to the church.
What?
Also you escape by going to the church and talking with the
Yes, that's part of the escape. Going to church and kneeling and doing all this blah blah is part of the escape. So what shall I escape? You understand? Please follow this. Escaping from something doesn't solve anything, will it? Are you following this? Are you sure you're following it? escaping from my pain, inward pain, will not solve that pain. It will always be there, hidden, concealed, and I can hold it down, run away from it, but it is festering. It's a wound that I have to heal.
But I escape from the pain because I'm afraid to get very involved in this.
I explained to you, sir, what kind of pain it is. You understand what I'm saying? My brother dies, and I have pain. And it's no good running away from that pain, is it? You're sure? So I have to face it, haven't I?
They say time is the great healer.
What?
They say time.
Yes,
And
I mean, time, I can forget. Give me a few months and few years, I'll forget my brother. And I'll get over my pain. But I'll have another kind of pain. You follow? I have several blasted sons.
So can I know the fundamental things which cause me this pain?
What?
You said I have another son or another matter which caused me
Cause pain.
So can I go to the fundamental things?
That's what I'm asking you. I'm trying to show it to you. It is no good escaping. Right? Is that clear? Church, drink, whatever it is you escape from. Novels, ideas, activity, none of them will solve this problem. So, don't escape. Right? Right?
But do you think the form of escape, some people try to think that now this, my brother or who stopped suffering, or this, like he was very sick, he died, he stopped suffering, it's better for him.
But it may be better for him, but I am...
Yeah, I know, but usually when we are so upset, it's, I don't know, I always feel for him, but deeply in me, it was myself, I was...
Je n'ai pas tout à fait compris, explique-moi.
Je veux dire que quand je suis très ennuyé parce qu'il est mort, je suis relativement ennuyé à propos de ça. Alors je pense que maintenant il a arrêté de souffrir parce que...
Oui, je sais. I'm not talking of the chap who is dead. I'm talking about myself, who is living. I suffer. Therefore, I'm pointing out to you, it is no good escaping from this fact of suffering. You understand? It is a fact. And it's no good saying, well, I will try to forget it, I will go to the church, I will read a book, I will take a drug, I will mesmerize not to think about it. It's all escapes, you understand? You understand all this?
So I think what he's saying, sir, is that sometimes we give this as a reason to comfort ourselves, that, he's no longer suffering anymore.
I told you, sir, I'm not, he's gone. I'm here and he's not here. So first thing is not to escape. Right? That's a fundamental principle. That gravity is a principle, it is a reality. In the same way, any form of escape from the fact that you suffer, will not solve that or bring about an understanding of that fact. So the mind must never escape. Escapes are comfortable. They're easy way out, but they do not solve the problem. Is that clear? So don't escape. Don't say verbally I understand it, but actually don't escape. So if you don't escape, what takes place? Then you have to face it, haven't you? You have to live with it.
Even if we try to escape, we live with it.
Huh?
Even if we try to escape, we live with it.
That's right. No, even if you try to escape, you are not looking at it. You're looking in another direction. It may be in the same room, but you're looking at out there. That's one fact. Then, if that's very clear, never escape from psychological facts. If I am a fool, I won't rationalize that foolishness. I am a fool, I see it. You follow? I won't escape from it. I won't justify it. Because justification, denial, or rationalization is a form of neurotic habit. You understand? I know what I'm talking about because I've done it. I don't talk about things which I've not done. That is hypocrisy. So, don't escape. Then you are living with this fact.
In the ordinary situation, in living with a fact that has happened, a psychological fact, something that's happened to you, often even though you are staying with what has happened, things in your surroundings and your relationships and so can slowly, very subtly and quietly creep in, so that without you trying to rationalize it.
Well, that's the old habit. The old habit that creeps on you.
Right.
So one has to be aware of that.
Right.
And move away from it. As I said at the beginning, you have to know about all this. Not intellectually or verbally or in a book, you have to know it inside. What people think, what people feel, how they avoid life, how they want comfort. Not only physically, but psychologically. When somebody dies, we say, oh, well, he lives. You follow? I'll meet him when I die too. And it's really complex. I won't go into all that problem because you won't be able to, because you haven't thought about it. Then the next question is, if you don't escape, how do you look at that suffering? Are you follow? Do you understand? Look, my brother dies. He's gone. Unhappily, or happily he's gone. I am left. We've played together, we've been companions, we've done all kinds of things together. And I'm suddenly left and lonely. I'm lonely, unhappy, miserable. Now, how do I look at that misery? You understand? How do I observe that sorrow. Is this all too much? Huh? Yes or no? All right.
One thing is, maybe I couldn't imagine to feel that strongly. I don't know whether it's because.
What? Strongly what?
It's sort of suffering. It might be something you always feel something missing because he or she is not present. Something missing, but
look,
never.
Don't you? Isn't this a common, ordinary thing? Don't you feel if you have lost somebody unhappy?
In life, you feel something missing, but there is something missing, sort of.
That's what I mean. Somebody, you may miss it casually, somebody may miss it so tremendously, he's unhappy about it. He commits suicide, he drowns himself, he says life isn't worth living. He's unhappy.
I haven't experienced that.
Oh no, you may not, because you may think, well, it's not important, all that.
I think what he means is that he's never experienced intense suffering, probably.
Look.
No, I mean, that kind of...
You may not experience intense suffering, but you know what it is, don't you?
Yes.
Huh? A man, so look, there's a poor man round the corner. Huh? He has no chance of education. He will never go in an aeroplane. He will never have a good meal. He'll always be poor, wretched, unhappy, miserable. Don't you feel for him? Or you say, well, poor chap, it's all right, it's this, you know.
I remarked something then. Like next year, when I come back in here, I will come back. I'm not gonna see some people, and I'm never gonna see it anymore. I think.
Yes.
Maybe. They're not suffering like.
No, of course not.
I know somebody I never.
Of course, that's a different thing.
Yeah, but why? I don't
Because,
understand
after all, you've grown up with your parents. You've played with them. They've given you money. They've looked after you. You meet me for a couple of years, I do nothing. I'm friends with you and I go away. That's totally different. Now you see, this is you.
So,
how we tackle these problems, huh? See, you know, let's begin again. You know what it is to be sensitive? Not sensitive to your own feelings. Most people are. You understand, Tumki, what I'm saying? But to be sensitive to things outside of you. To the trees, to the poverty, to people who are suffering. The injustice in the world. Why should somebody have all the glory? I was watching the other night on television. Some person dies, an important person or duke, somebody, and the circus around it. The band, all the great people around him. And somebody down the corner dies, nobody cares. You understand? Do you know what it means to be sensitive? To be sensitive to things around you. not to your own desires, but see what is happening around you, to feel what the others are feeling. I was once walking behind a group of women in India, and one of their daughters said, "Mummy, Mother, I'm hungry." They were working people. She said, "Mother, I'm hungry." And mother said, "I've just given you food." He said, "No, that's not enough." And the mother says, "That's all we're going to have today." You understand? Tunki? You understand? There's no more food for you today. And you listen to that, and you say, "Mike, you follow?" And there are the people who have thumping good meals in a marvelous restaurant. Are you sensitive at all to all this? Huh? What am I to say? You won't reply, you won't discuss with me. You see, modern education, modern civilization is more and more making people self-centered, only themselves, for God's sake, me first. Because insecurity, lack of money, problems are becoming more and more extravagant and more complex. I don't know if you listen to all the news, the economic condition of Britain. All that is making each human being concerned about himself.
That has to be, because otherwise you are taken.
Huh?
That has to be, because if you don't concern about yourself, you go down. And how is this?
Therefore you are becoming less and less sensitive to other people. If I am only concerned with myself, you understand? Otherwise, if I am not concerned with myself, they'll throw me out of job. If I am not concerned about myself, I shan't be able to do a thing. I must be concerned. And that very concern is making me insensitive. I live in a large town. Oh, people.
So what is that sensitivity in the sense of death?
I'm trying first to see that death is such a tremendous problem, a very complex problem, as living. And you have to be sensitive enough to inquire into it, to investigate, to find out. No, I think this is too difficult a subject for all of you.
Well, if we do see the poverty around us and the misery, and we are sensitive to it, what can we do?
Probably nothing. They don't want you to do anything, but to feel this, you understand, sir? To feel that there is such terrible things going on in the world. Be sensitive to all this.
But does this sensitivity have to cause pain?
No.
Well, that's just what I want to. That you feel there is something, but I don't think one can feel that burdened by it. I don't know if you understand.
So look, the villagers and the people around this property, the workmen, they have not the same kind of life that you and I have. We can't do anything about it. And we can at least feel, you understand, feel what the world is like. Which doesn't mean I suffer. When you see those trees, the beauty of it, all the rest of it, you feel something, don't you?
Yes.
Huh? Yes. In the same way, have this sensitivity about life, about life, with all the things involved in it.
Yes, one can feel what is radiated or what is, to pick up what is being given by the situation in a person, but one cannot sort of understand and agree what is the feeling in that situation, if you understand what I mean. I mean, I can find somebody with a feeling of depressed in a certain situation quite ridiculous to my mind.
Of course. But you can have sympathy for him, affection for him, though he may disagree with you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all I'm talking about. Be sensitive.
But it's in certain situations. I mean, for myself, I feel very privileged that I am among the well-fed people in the world, and I don't have to worry about hunger. And I feel very sensitive to the fact that most of the world is not in this situation.
That's all.
So for me to see a hungry child, to say I'm sensitive to it, I'm very sensitive to it, but I also feel tremendous, I feel a well of emotion coming up over the injustice and the anger. Perhaps another situation would cause this in someone else. It's a very hard, very, very difficult for me to, I understand what you mean by the sensitivity, but when one separates, to separate the sensitivity from the memory and the feelings that it evokes, it's very difficult.
Look, sir, we started out talking about death. Because that's one of the things as important as living. It's one of the factors of our life. Not only my dying and our dying, but also others dying. War. People killed. We kill animals to eat. All that killing, dying. And the pain of it all. And to educate ourselves, to understand all this. You understand? So that when we meet it, we'll know how to act. It's part of our education, isn't it? That's why one has to inquire into this question of death. How the world, one part of the world believes in one thing, the other part doesn't, or has another belief. Or one part says, I'm not concerned with death at all, that's inevitable, I just want to live. and live as comfortably, as brutally, as absurdly as possible. I just want to live. Follow? You must know all this. And when person that dies whom you like, and the suffering that's involved in it, you must understand what that suffering is, how to look at it, how to go beyond it. Really, to understand the immensity of death, you have to also to understand the immensity of living. Haven't you? They're related, aren't they? It isn't that I live and then die. They're interrelated, aren't they? So I have to understand what is living too. What does it mean, living? Come on, sirs, discuss with me. What does it mean to you, living? Passing exams, study, quarrels, getting married, bearing children, sex and all the rest of it. The husband or the wife going off to a factory, to business, day after day, day after day, day after day, and going off for a holiday for a month. Struggle, 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 pain, joy, little occasional amusement, fun. Is that's what we call living, don't we? No? Huh? Ask any man in the street, and he'll say, that is living. What the hell are you talking about? What does it mean for you all to live? Come on.
Well, it has different meaning at different occasion.
Huh?
It has a different meaning at different occasion.
Different meaning. What does it mean to you, Tunki? Not different notation to you.
Well, the thing is, in some occasion I'm asking myself also, what is the purpose of the whole?
Yeah, I'm asking you, what is meaning of life? What does it mean to live?
But mostly, when I'm asking that question, mostly I'm in a situation where I live habitually. In other words, somewhat drag myself. And
you mean you are just a machine living in habits and reactions. Obviously, and that's what we call living, is it?
Mostly it's that.
I'm a Christian. You repeat and all that stuff. So what does it mean, as it is now, to live? You're going to do all this. Answer this question, sirs and girls. This is your life. You go off from here. You have been a vegetarian for a few months, not kill, eat meat and all that. And then you go off and eat meat and drink and all the rest of it. And then get married or not married, pass exams, get a job, and then you're stuck for the rest of your life. And this you call living. Huh? Bene? N'est-ce pas? Excitement, holiday, for God's sake. Is this what you're going to end up in?
Well, we are in it.
Is this what you're going to end up in? You are in it. Is this what's your education leading to?
Well, I don't want to, but...
If you may not want to. But somebody is going to drag you into it. Your wife. Or your neighbor, or your circumstances. Then you're caught. And you call that living. And I say to myself, is that living? Get educated, get a degree, get a job, marry, a house if you're lucky, or a job if you're lucky, then sex, children, and there you are, caught. I'm not saying you shouldn't marry, you shouldn't do this. That's what you call living. The everlasting struggle. Is this what you're all being educated for? Huh? Come on, Ruben.
I don't feel it is, actually.
Then what will you do? You're going to face this. The girls who are 18, 19 who are going to leave. We've been here for a couple of years. And they're going to leave here. Just drift. Please tell me.
Mainly I can see where I'm not headed.
Yes, sir. So how will you intelligently meet this problem? If you don't meet the problem intelligently, you're not being educated. Education, reading some books and passing examinations, this is the essence of education. That's why you must know that some things that are not in the books, like what is death, what is meditation, what is intelligence, how to live differently, what to do when confronted with the idiocy and the madness of the world. How to meet all this with a clear mind, not a confused mind. So that's why you have to think about these things very clearly. What your life is, what you're going to do.
It seems like more often we think about what we're going to do tomorrow or this afternoon, or what's for lunch, or what games on television.
Quite right. No, sir, but you see, one is too young to understand all this. but to be educated, you understand? To discuss these problems, so that you yourself become clear. So that when you leave Brockwood, your mind is capable of understanding or investigating, seeing things.
Sir, if you don't, I think if I don't get a job, I have to get a job, otherwise I can't live and also go to university and that.
Quite. So what will you do?
Therefore, if I don't get job,
Therefore, think clearly about it. Be clear. Look, you live here. Go to university if your parents can afford it. If not, you have to take a job. That means work for the rest of your life. Working. I know all that. Wait. How will you do? What will you do? Just become like a machine like the rest of them? Knowing you have to have a job, knowing you have to have money, knowing you have to have all the rest of it, clothes, food and all that. Look at it. You see, I'm not telling you what to do, but in understanding all this, you'll have an intelligence that will deal with it. You follow? And the cultivation of that intelligence is education. So that when you go to Mexico, come from Mexico, you know what you have to meet. How you will act about it, how you think, what you will do. Look at it. Therefore, one has to be serious about it. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy games and all that. Be serious about certain things. You saw the other day demonstration from the left and the right, didn't you? In London. The right group and the left group, they came into clash. Violence. How? You understand what I'm talking? Now, what do you say about all that? They want political changes. Left says one thing and the right says another. The conservative, the liberals, the Labour, you have to look at all this, understand it. Or he says, politics are dirty. You can't change human mind through politics. The important thing is the change of the human mind and heart. That's the first thing. And if you feel that, go into it, find out what it means to bring about change in the mind. You see, when I go to India, when talking in all these different schools and public, the tradition there, you understand what I mean, tradition? Says yes. Tradition says there is reincarnation. You must respect people. listen to somebody, a religious man like me who is talking. So tradition takes over. Are you following all what I'm saying? No. Here, in the religious sense, there is no tradition at all except conditioning. You believe in Jesus, all that. But there is no religious depth to all this. And the difficulty you're all going to have is to establish for yourself a field in which you are very, very clear. You understand?
A question that
Clear about how you behave, right? What you eat. You know, what you eat matters enormously. Exercise. Not play, if you can't play tennis or golf, or walk, run, exercise. Keep the body fit. So, if you're, from now on, you think about it, live that way, when you go out, you live naturally that way. You follow? I ain't got any. Find out what behavior means. Whether it's merely mechanical, you understand that? Or has it got any depth which is not mechanical? Probably most of you go back to eating meat. Think about it, look at it, find out. It's the right thing to do. Not just drift into it. Because your parents and your friends and everybody eats meat. Be clear. You understand what I'm talking about? Most of your friends probably smoke. Go into, find out whether you can have intelligence enough to act rightly in every direction.
But if you react to them, if they kind of get upset, if they're going to say, "Oh, get out of here," and and
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know.
How can you live?
If you act differently from your father and mother and your friends, they think you're crazy. They push you out. They make you feel guilty. They make you feel ugly. Now, how do you act under those circumstances intelligently?
Just forget it.
But you've got to live with, I've got to live with my parents. I'm too young, I can't rush out and earn my own livelihood. I've got to live with them. They want me to do certain things. And I don't feel like it because I feel different. How shall I, please listen, how shall I act intelligent, which means not to hurt them or hurt myself? You follow? I can run away and go and earn my own livelihood. That's not the way. That's not the answer. I've got to live with these people. What will my intelligence do?
If I'm quite clear about it myself, I will discuss it with them and show them that this is my understanding and I really feel this way.
I'm not telling you what your intelligence will do under certain circumstances, but have you the intelligence to do the thing which will always act rightly, whatever it is?
Excuse me for my sidetrack, but you're saying about educating, and how is it coming about? Because each one of us come from different culture and different kind of
yes, environment, so on, yes.
And peculiarities.
Yes.
And all of them coming here. And
now, wait, Tunki, are you asking, is intelligence different for each one? Is that what you're asking?
No, I'm asking how is it being brought about? Because
how is intelligence to be cultivated? Is that what you're asking?
Well,
I come from India, you come from Java, somebody else comes from Germany, some Holland. We're all different. We're all
yes, but
different.
Fundamentally, there is one thing that it tends to go to a stream of direction, and each one has the common stream of direction, but only in a different form.
Yes, sir. And so,
they all bring this stream.
Is intelligence national?
No, I know that it's not, but...
No, then if your intelligence is my intelligence, and hers, then our intelligence is common. We'll act commonly. Not commonly, vulgarly, but our intelligence will be not personal.
But the thing is, people don't act in intelligence, and they act according to the stream of the majority. Or
no, that's not intelligence.
No, that's right, but how... We are coming all together here. How, since everybody like that, how is the intelligence going to come to be able to? Because it's becoming a very subtle and
look, Tunki, will you? Now, look, Tunki. First of all, what is intelligence? Can you buy it in a book? No. Can you, is it a thing that comes through experience? They've had 5,000 wars during as long as written history has existed. Killing. They've had tremendous experience.
If the intelligence
it hasn't brought intelligence. Say, for God's sake, stop killing. There's a different way of living. So listen, books won't give you intelligence. Experience won't give you intelligence. Right? Huh?
Yes.
Living together won't give intelligence.
No.
So, by denying what it will not bring experience, will not give it intelligence, you are intelligent. We said books won't, right? Experience won't. Living together won't. Circumstances won't. Now, when you deny all that, see the truth, falseness of all that, the very perception of that falseness is intelligence. You understood? It's okay. Do you see that?
Yes.
Huh?
The question lies...
No, not question lies. I'm asking you, will books give you intelligence?
No.
No. Why do you say no?
Well, you can...
Why do you say no? Because I say no? Or because you see the fact it cannot. Millions of people are very learned, enormous, they're not intelligent.
Books can point out certain facts, but it cannot...
So you say your own perception, your own insight, your own understanding says books cannot. Therefore, you are intelligent already. Huh? When I insist on going through this door, when there is no door, I am stupid.
Yes.
And when you say, look, that's not a door, boy, that's a wall, you are intelligent.
That's the obvious case which you are talking about.
This is so obvious too, Tunki.
No, but this is such that the background or the group.
No, I'm not the group. I'm saying one thing, which is, can books give you intelligence?
No, book can't.
Huh?
No.
What makes you say that?
Well, books can give you information.
Yes.
But I don't think I wouldn't consider information etc.
Therefore, so you are beginning to see what will not give intelligence. Books won't.
No.
Will experience give you intelligence?
And experience will show some phenomena where you can see something is not right.
I'm asking you intelligence. Will it give you intelligence?
I wouldn't, yeah. For example, I give the example of the wars as you give.
Take the example of war. Take the examples of nationalities.
When it can, for somebody it can click, hey, why should we war? And in that case it is intelligent. But for some it doesn't.
No, I'm asking you, not for some.
No.
Huh?
In that case, no.
Not, not in that case. I'm talking experience as a whole. Whether it is mountain climbing, whether it is experience of the scientific world, experience of war, experience of experience. Will that give you intelligence?
It has some influence on
people have had tremendous experience in mountain climbing. They have had tremendous experience for centuries of war. They have experience of hate, violence. And will all that produce intelligence?
No.
Huh? Be clear, Tunki. If you are not clear, then you think experience will. It will give you a capacity to function.
Yes, it does.
That's not intelligence. I know, I've read books about mountain climbing, I've climbed a little, and I go with others and explain that you may capacity to climb a mountain. Capacity is not intelligence. I can be a marvelous, general. The very idea of being a general is lack of intelligence.
Could it be said that intelligence is a clear observation? I mean, because it's
no,
somewhat
you're muddling yourself. Go step by step. Books won't give it to you, will it?
No.
Huh?
No, it won't.
You're clear on that.
Yes.
Why do you say that?
Well,
because you see that it cannot. Right? Therefore, that very perception is the act of intelligence. What time is it, sir? Oof, 1:15. That's an act of intelligence. You see, Tunki, when you deny or you say that won't lead to intelligence, experience, books won't lead to intelligence. To see that it doesn't is an act of intelligence. You understand? Have you understood it? Have some of you understood it? Huh? Right.